Well, you alluded to it, Puma, and I want to move this conversation forward. And let's say the relationship gets so bad between the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson that he's basically gone. Next year, he's playing on the Indianapolis Colts. He's playing, I don't know, Atlanta Falcons somewhere. Where does that leave the Baltimore Ravens? And an interesting nugget came out of Cam Newton's pro day, was it yesterday or a couple of days ago now, about how Cam Newton could be linked to the Baltimore Ravens. If you guys haven't heard or seen, Cam Newton went out and had a pro day. He threw it down in Auburn at his college. His brother was also a wide receiver there, so that's the reason why he was throwing, but he also wanted to show out for the NFL teams. All 32 teams were in attendance, and from what I see and what we can see through the highlights and everything floating on social media, he looks all right. But then again, a lot of quarterbacks look all right.
You better look okay with throwing around in shorts and cut off a t-shirt.
Yeah. Well, Zach Wilson,
air conditioning.
Zach Wilson looked really good as pro day as well, right? So the thing here is, though, and this is me watching Cam Newton from a different perspective, because I watched him on a weekly basis with the Patriots in 2020. I kind of have a sense of how he can throw, how he looks, his throw mechanics. And I will say, at his pro day a couple of days ago, he looked much smoother. Like, I don't know if there's something with his shoulder that finally healed up. I don't know if he went through a rehab or whatever it was, but I could definitely tell his throwing motion was smoother. There's not that hitch anymore he had in New England. And I just felt like he was a better quarterback, at the pro day. Now, does that mean he's going to be able to read defenses? No. Does that mean he can go in and pick up an offense? We can't discern that from the information we have at the pro day. So, all I can say is, from a purely throwing mechanics, he looked all right.
Yeah, he looked all right. And, but, again, you better look all right with no pass rush and, the air conditioning in your favor and whatnot. I mean, I saw the tweet that was circulated around. I kind of shy away from NFL Rumors account just because they've been dragged a couple of times by some of the insiders and verified accounts. But for argument's sake, could he potentially fit in that offense?
Yeah.
Sure. Like, yeah, okay. Like, I could see him, attempting to throw the ball 10 yards down the field to Devin Duvernay. Do I think that's going to happen? No, because in my opinion, if you sign Cam Newton to that roster right now with Tyler Huntley and you still have Lamar Jackson waving in the wind, you might as well wave that white flag on Lamar Jackson. Like, like if you're hell bent on getting Lamar back in the building, like, you don't make that move unless Tyler Huntley God forbid, like, gets hurt the first week of the season, and you need a guy with the pulse back there to run an offense potentially. That, to me, is when you break glass in case of emergency. If we cross the Rubicon of, Lamar pulling a Le'Veon Bell and Tyler Huntley getting hurt. Otherwise, I would not have that man in the building as of right now if you are trying to get Lamar Jackson back on your team.
Yeah. I think Cam Newton at this stage of his career is more of a backup than an actual starter. I mean, that MVP year, 15? It's such a long time ago.
Yeah.
And it's funny because he's only 32, 33 years old, and quarterbacks are playing into their 40s nowadays. Aaron Rodgers, 39, knocking on 40. Obviously, Tom Brady's retired, but he at 45 could still throw the football. I just find it fascinating. This guy at 32 is a physical specimen, does not have a job right now. And I know we all cringe at Cam Newton, the way he talks, the way he, sends his social media out. Because I cringed at that video.
What are all these randos getting this job?
I cringed at that. I was like, what are you doing, dude? Like, what's wrong with you? But at the heart of his, video, he doesn't make a good point. Like, let me be real about this for a second. Would you take Cam Newton or Sam Howell? Would you take Cam Newton or Baker Mayfield? Would you take Cam Newton and, God, who's a cold starter last year? Like, all I'm saying is, Cam Newton, I think there's a reason why the league isn't, inviting him back into the fold. And it's because of his personality, because of how big of a brand he is. I mean, he can't simply be a backup anymore, and he demands too much attention. And I do think he could probably still play football at a decent clip, much better than Sam Howell and whoever the Colts are rolling out there. I just think the league is shunning away from him because of his big personality.
Yeah, I get by the personality aspect. The other thing too is, I mean, he was getting like, I think he had like back-to-back seasons of like Liz Frank injuries. Mm-hmm. He's got a well-documented history of the shoulder issue. And I mean, his style of play, like, he's built like a brick shit house. So like, he's going to run, he's going to lower the shoulder. I mean, Josh Allen, in my opinion, modeled his game after Cam Newton and how he played in his early years in Carolina. But I mean, all those hits add up, and I think this is a byproduct. This is downstream of what happens. Is okay, if you're a mobile quarterback, a lot of your game is relying on your feet and moving the pocket. Like you're one step from you're getting stepped on alignment by a lineman and having another Liz Frank injury. Like then what's going to happen?
Mhm.
But the personality I could totally buy. I mean, Jay, you saw it front row and center with New England. Like they cared more
Which he
about.
wasn't that bad, by the way. He wasn't that bad for New
I thought
England.
the outfits were muted. Like I didn't think
Yeah.
they were that bad
No.
either. But I mean, Boston radio, that's all it was Cam's outfit and then him bouncing the ball and 5 yards in front of a guy that's running a 10-yard out route. Like
Yeah.
that's all they cared about. And let's like I said, if I'm the Ravens for like you said, dude with such a big personality, and you have Lamar with a big personality, and they both have big egos, like that's not going to work.
Yeah.
Like that
If
is break glass in case of emergency.
Cam would be the perfect backup to somebody like Jordan Love right now, because Jordan
Mm,
Love is going into his first season starting as a real quarterback, basically starting quarterback one. But it's one of those things where you need somebody like Cam Newton in the building, teach him along the way. Their games kind of mirror a little bit. Jordan Love is obviously a better thrower of the football, but there was a time where Cam Newton can throw as well. If his personality and his ego allowed it, he'd be a great backup in Kansas City. Chad Henne just retired, so there's a couple of good spots for him to go. The problem is, I don't think his ego will allow him to be a backup quarterback in the NFL.
mhm.